Howdy kids, and welcome to another episode of Escaping the Cave. It is the Toddzilla X-Pod. I'm your friendly computer host, Todd, Mr. Zilla. My last name is Zilla. Did you know that? Well, I was being clever, didn't you? Or am I lying? Some people think my birthday is actually on the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. Also, the day that Doc Brown went back in history, invented the flux capacitor. Not only was November 5th my Facebook birthday, not only was it Guy Fawkes Day or Emmett Brown Day, if you're a Back to the Future fan, no, it was Election Day. I've been avoiding this guy. I've sat down probably 3 or 4 times since the election to try to record something, and I'm trying to be responsible about this because I remember the aftermath of 2016. I was, let's just say, not in a good mental place. When I woke up across from Cheyenne Mountain stealth camping on a hitchhiking trip to discover that Donald Trump had won the election against all of the predictions. Hillary Clinton was supposed to run away with it. We were supposed to repudiate all that was Donald Trump in 2016. Oof. I was hit with I'll call it an emotional club when I woke up that morning in 2016. So, things have changed drastically with me, with the country, in a lot of ways in the last 8 years. I'm very happy that Donald Trump won this time. Not because I'm a fan of his, I still am not a fan of Donald Trump's. I've said this 100 times on the show and in various other places. I am not a Donald Trump fan. I am not a Trumper. Whatever that woke shit is that crept in the door with Joe Biden in 2020, that is my issue. It's been my issue since 2018 or 2019. I desperately wanted to see that repudiated. I wanted to see that repudiated on the back with an electoral shellacking, an embarrassment, a clear repudiation of everything woke and everything Kamala Harris, the DEI Trojan horse. That is what I hope to see on Election Day. I didn't think I would. But here we are. Record date on this one is November 15th, 2024. We are 10 days past the election, which happened on November 5th. So, as euphoric as I am, not necessarily, again, I'm going to repeat this. I'll probably say it a few times today. I don't know how long this podcast is going to be today. I'm basically doing this. Like I said, it's taken me a little bit of time to get back in the studio because I didn't want to overreact like I did in 2016. Right? So I didn't want to come on to this podcast, come on the air, and maybe say some things I would later regret. I wanted to let things sit, let things settle, let things sort of sift down, check out how things are, how other people are reacting, how the left is reacting, how the right is reacting, how Trump would react. Just let it sit, let it simmer for a little while. But if I let it simmer for too much longer, probably not the wisest thing. So here I am. Show of hands. How many of you saw that coming last week? There were indications. There were indications of this. Not on mainstream news. MSNBC and CNN, they sure as hell didn't see this coming. Fox News, I give them credit. There were people over there that they said before the election they thought this was going to be a shellacking. Now, when I heard that, of course, I took it with a grain of salt because it's Fox News, right? They nailed it. There were indications all over Twitter, X. If you were over there and you were watching what was going on, you were listening to what was going on around that platform, you could kind of sense it. But then you switch back over to the cable news networks, the liberal ones, CNN, MSNBC, and you're hearing all these poll stuff. You heard about the poll out in Iowa, right? Oh my God, Kamala Harris is going to win Iowa. Look at this poll that has her up 3 to 5 points. That didn't work out well, did it? Trump still won it. All the prognosticators, all the anti-Trump Nostradamusi got it wrong. So again, I ask you, show of hands, how many of you actually saw that coming? I didn't. I was hoping. I really was. I've said this a number of times. I've said this to a number of people, and I'm sure I said it on this show, I don't know, probably a dozen times since the last election, since Joe Biden let woke sort of creep in the door behind him when he took the oath of office back in 2021. But I wanted to see this. I wanted to see Kamala Harris, if they were going to sort of hoist her up and appoint her as a party nominee in 2024, I wanted to see her annihilated. I wanted to see everything she stands for. I don't care how she campaigns. We all know what she stands for. We saw and we heard it in 2019. Go back and listen to the last few episodes if you're not familiar with that line of thought. We know who and what she is. We've always known who and what she is. Regardless of the propaganda blitzkrieg that we were subjected to over the last few years, or last few months, rather. So yeah, I wanted to see that this entire suffocating, smothering ideology. Religion, the woke religion, I wanted to see it smothered. I wanted to see it smashed, bludgeoned at the ballot box. See her repudiated and see that repudiated. I wanted to see evidence that the backdraft to woke flakism that I've been pleading for, looking for, since 2019, since I started talking about the inevitable backlash that was going to come in response to this, I wanted to see indications, proof that it was finally here, and holy shit. I guess. I didn't think they were going to get all three branches. Yeah, the advantage in the House of Representatives tenuous, I think. Depends on appointments and all that stuff, but I didn't even see it coming anywhere near this close. Electoral College, 312 to 226. Is it 39 states that he won? Whew. Trump ran every single one of the swing states. Every single one of them. All 7, Trump won. That wasn't supposed to happen. Made gains in every single demographic, including among women, blacks, and Latinos. He actually came close to getting 50% of Latinos nationwide. There's a podcast back. I told you. I hate to say I told you so sometimes. Nah, I like to say I told you so. I really get a kick out of saying I told you so. I told you so about a year ago. I said Latinos are natural conservative allies because of their culture, especially if they've come up from Mexico. Abortion, religion, machismo culture is not woke culture. And everybody's so shocked by this, shocked by the idea that Republicans could get the Latino vote, could make inroads into the Latino vote. It's not that shocking. Especially with that running as the opposition. Celebrity endorsements fell flat on their face, a multi-million-dollar flop. No one cares what Lizzo, Taylor Swift, Oprah, even Michelle Obama, who came here. She was right in Kalamazoo. A week before the election. Didn't help. Every single one of them were paid. Was it $5 million that Beyonce made? $1.8 million to Eminem? To say, I like Kamala Harris. These were paid. It's the equivalent of getting political hookers. It's like if you go to Hooters, right? Then the waitress comes up and puts her arm around you and says, "Oh, hi, honey. How you doing? You like some wings? Oh, you so handsome." Oh. She's saying that because you're paying her because you're going to tip her. Not because she really likes you. I think South Park has an episode about this. That's what happened here. So had Kamala not paid, would they have still we will never know. I think Lizzo, somebody, I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I don't even know who Lizzo is, okay? I really don't. I wouldn't know her if I saw a picture. The name keeps popping up. But would they have shown? We'll never know. I think one of them, I think it was Lizzo, came out and said, "Well, I did it because I wanted to. I didn't even get paid." Like, wait a minute. You didn't get paid. Everybody else got paid, but you didn't get paid. You are a poor businesswoman. You got ripped off. That's one of the most satisfying parts of this election, and is that this celebrity culture was repudiated. Nope, we don't care. We do not care. Democrats spent $1 billion with a B on this election. $1 billion spent on this election and lost. And not only did they lose, in large part because of what they paid the celebrities, they wound up, after spending $1 billion, raising and spending $1 billion, they wound up $20 million in debt. Oof. Ouch. Some of the staff, some of the vendors had trouble getting paid. Last thing I knew, they didn't get paid. Maybe they have since then. I don't know. Oh, my God. And you lost. You had a propaganda blitzkrieg, the likes of which we haven't seen since wartime. And you lost. What does this say? Now, everybody around the country, all of these people who hate Donald Trump and suddenly love Kamala Harris, even though she was shoved away in the corner for 3 years because nobody likes her, even though she didn't even make it to 2020 because nobody likes her, but all of a sudden now everybody, oh, I just love Kamala. Usually women, feminists. Okay. But even after all that, even after the blitzkrieg, the propaganda blitzkrieg, everything, you still lost. What does that say about all of that and losing to Donald Trump? That bad. What does that say about the state of your party, about your candidate? And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't prove it. I just know it's true. The national attitude toward this woke religion. Wokeentology. People are fucking sick of it. Sick of it. After hearing how bad they are, how much men need to change, we need to have this eugenic program, this psychological eugenics program. So men can learn to change. We need to change men. After hearing that for so long, you're really surprised that men swung so hard away from her? Are you? Are you really? Strange. Most of you are pretty smart. I don't know who I'm talking to. When I say you, I've talked about this before. I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to get this through my head. Don't say you, because I would be shocked if I have more than a handful of people listening to this podcast have voted for Kamala Harris. My question to you is why? Why are you listening to this show? Are you trying to learn why she lost? Why would you put yourself through this? But I still say you when I talk to these woke people. So understand that if you've just found this show, when you hear me saying that, most of the time I'm speaking to no one in particular, no one who's really here, almost like a straw man standing in front of me. These are the things that I would like to say to woke America. Are you really that surprised that men went running away from you? Are you really surprised that even black men went running away from you after whatever, making them feel like infants for so long, like they have to be rescued by you. Infantilized, that's the word. Insulting them, like they can't do anything for themselves. They need you, white social justice warrior, to come in and save them in their neighborhoods and their communities. And oh, by the way, you have to sort of, emasculate them at the same time, because men in particular, men in general, are just pigs. I would rather be around a bear than a man. Okay, well, fuck you too. If you think we're more dangerous, we're lower on the scale than a wild grizzly bear, why the hell would I come and vote for you? Is this so surprising? I'm talking about Moonbeam a bunch of times on the show. Moonbeam is both a composite character of various people that I've met over the years, and also a real person who I will not name, I will not shame her. Many of you know exactly who she is. The entire week, the last 10 days, whenever I've heard the Democrats going on their little autopsy, their supposed soul searching about why they got, I have her picture, her image, her face in my mind. Her plump little face, her plump, smug little face pops into my mind almost every time. She hates men. She's been a raging feminist as long as I can remember her. She is one of the most totalitarianly woke people. I was astounded. One of the first things that happened to me, first thing is that I realized she hates men. She won't say she hates men because she's a social justice warrior. And she's all about love and peace and love. Oh, I love everything except men. They're pigs. Ooh. Right. Then she'll kind of check it. She'll rein it in a little bit until it just kind of creeps out. You notice it. A little bit later on, she was one of the people who really just shoved me out, that stamped my passport out of Wokistan. She told me once, I was like, I'm a guy who, it's not even really a discussion when you have a conversation about free speech, like the First Amendment. We're allowed to say what we think, what we want to say, right? This is a non-starter with me. It's a fundamental principle of this country. It's sacrilege to speak against that. And I think we were having some online discussion. I don't remember what it was. It was like 10, 12 years ago, a long time ago. And somehow I was like, well, what do you want to do? Just get rid of free speech? And she's like, yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't a joke. She wasn't kidding. I was waiting for her to say, she never did. She believes it. This was a long time ago. This is 10, 12 years ago. She was in favor of getting rid of the entire concept of free speech to avoid hurtful things, to get rid of hate speech. So feelings wouldn't be hurt. Hate speech, of course, being, designated or defined by her and her kind. That was it. Respect, friendship, all of it. Do I feel bad about that? I did for a while. We stayed friends for a long time after that. But it was just okay, coming down a notch. And then something happened with her. I think it was Charlottesville. Something after Charlottesville. I don't remember what it was exactly. Was that 2017 probably? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was it. She sent me a couple of friend requests since then. No. I know that Rachel Maddow, she posted something or said something on her show last 10 days or so, saying, you know what, if you have unfriended or lost contact with any of these Trump voters, you should really try to, reach out, send out an olive branch. Why? Not to save the relationship or anything, so you can try to convince them, so you can propagandize them. so you can enlighten them, so you can educate all of these poor, misguided, ignorant people who just don't know they don't know any better. They don't know as well as you do. They haven't been shown the way. They haven't been introduced to the God of cosmic justice. They haven't felt the holy, self-righteous ghost come inside them yet. Don't. I can't imagine any of these woke people are listening to this podcast, listening to me anymore. They probably don't have anything to do with anything I put out. But if by chance you do, and you think that you're going to reach out now, oh, Todd, if you think you're going to do that, and you're going to try to sell me, and you're going to try to propagandize me, propagate the religion back to me, try to save me, save your breath. Don't. So anyway, now that we have that established, let's respect each other's boundaries, shall we? Okay? That's my boundary. You don't need to save me. I have the same boundary set up with religious folks, fundamentalists, evangelicals. You can try once. But after that, once we've established that, don't keep trying to save me. You, woke flake warrior, my woke flake missionary friends are not going to save Toddzilla. Toddzilla knows better. Toddzilla has already seen the inside of Woketown. He's not going back.
I want to eat them right now.
And neither, I would think,
bad way,
is the vast majority of this country. I wanted to believe this was going to happen. I did. I wanted to believe an election like this was going to, that if Kamala Harris was put on that ballot, especially the way she was, I never imagined Democrats would be so brazen as to install the DEI Trojan, appoint the DEI Trojan horse onto a ballot without a primary. I never thought Democrats would do that. They are called the Democratic Party. The Democrats. Democracy. Sure, we got a vote, but we didn't get a primary. Nobody got a primary. Nobody got the standard fare, the standard choice to choose amongst all of these supposedly highly qualified candidates for the Democratic nomination. Nobody got a choice. Was it Biden's fault? Maybe. And maybe it was. It doesn't matter. You should have muddled through a primary somehow, some way, a mini primary, something, because the biggest issue in this election was democracy. Now, if you're a Democrat, you would assume, I guess, that meant, well, we don't want to see another January 6th. We don't want to see another insurgency. We don't think that Donald Trump is going to let us have another election. Democracy, we got to save democracy. Right? You would think. However, it went both ways. Democracy was at the top of both Republican and Democratic concerns at the polls. Why? Because a lot of people thought, apparently, the same way I did. They didn't like what happened with Kamala Harris being shoved, hoisted, appointed, elevated onto the ballot. They didn't like the way that she was shoved, she was yanked, I should say, out of 2020's dustbin, put on the ballot as the vice presidential nominee in 2020 simply because she's a woman of color. Hid away for 3 years. And then all of a sudden, when Dementia Joe decides, it's too hard. Everybody wants me to go. I guess I'll go. It's a little late in the game, but I guess I'll go. I'm going to endorse Kamala. And there's a whole bunch of theories about this, too. We won't bother with that right now. Maybe someday. But Republicans really had a problem with that. Independents really had a problem with how she was shown to be the nominee, how she got on the ballot. Just as many independent voters, Republican voters, even if they don't like Trump, even if they dislike him, they had a problem with that. A lot of Democrats had a problem with that. It was the number one issue, democracy, going both ways. How stupid, how ignorant do you have to be as a party, as a party machine? When you've got Donald Trump, Donald fucking Trump, Mr. Insurgency, how inept do you have to be to fuck up that advantage? It's malpractice. It's like you weren't wanting to win. You got a DEI appointee as your candidate. No primary. Just shoved us a DEI enema. Ooh. How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up? You did. So I wanted to believe from 2021 on that if Kamala Harris, if a DEI candidate was put up there, won the nomination, that if the woke stuff persisted, no, it persisted, it got worse, that if some woke candidate were put on the ballot in 2024 against Trump or anybody else, I wanted to believe it would be repudiated. I did. I knew it was coming. I mean, it had to come at some point. It took an awful long. Here's a criticism for the rest of you. It took a long time for this backlash, this backdraft to finally show up. Way too long. But it did. I wanted to believe it. I had inklings. I had hints in my head. I'm like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This could happen. But I wasn't 100% sure. Nope. But it did. Yay! Ding dong, woke is dead. No, it's not. More on that coming too. Anyway, the Democrats are doing their fake introspection. They did this after 2016 as well. Nothing ever changed. They just tilted. They lurched further to the left even after Trump was elected the first time. Now they're doing the little autopsy. Hopefully they succeed this time. I don't think so. Democrats are cannibalizing themselves. Nancy Pelosi said, remember, she was saying that Joe Biden's a fantastic candidate. He's like a combination of Jesus Christ, Cicero, and Abraham. Like, you remember that a few months ago? He was just fan-fucking-tastic. Well, she's turned on him. Now it's his fault because he didn't get out quick enough. Cost him the election. That's what she's saying. A lot of people are echoing what I just said, too, about the primaries. Duh. You don't... Oh, my God. How dumb are you? You couldn't see this ahead of time. Oh, maybe we should have had a primary. You weren't thinking this way, I don't know, July? You couldn't conceive of the fact that that would be offensive to Americans, to American voters. The idea that you did not have a primary, you could not conceive that that would turn vast swaths of the American electorate off. Really? Then you are inept, unqualified. You should quit. You should do what James Carville said, get the hell out of Washington, D.C. If you couldn't see that, if you couldn't even conceive of that result based on basically canceling the primaries, voiding the primaries, ostracizing the one guy who was actually on the ballot against Biden, didn't get any traction. He was saying he predicted a lot of the stuff that actually happened. I don't even remember the guy's name. He's been all over the news. Yeah, well, you should have listened to this guy. You had somebody there, but you buried him. What's he supposed to do? Heard somebody say this week that Kamala Harris should have disassociated Democrats, from the fringe left, from the woke left, from the AOC left. She could not do that. It was impossible because Harris's own words from her failed 2019 campaign put her squarely out on that fringe. And when she was asked about this, and she was asked about it a number of times, a lot of times by friendly people trying to give her a softball, trying to give her, an opportunity to square that circle, to reconcile who she is now with who she was in 2019, all she could say, my values haven't changed. And you wonder why you lost. She said she evolved on fracking. Okay. How are we supposed to believe that? How are we supposed to believe anything you say? I got into it in the last episode, maybe the one before that as well, when I was talking about, this befuddling bullshit. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, befuddle them with bullshit. That's exactly what she did. She talked in circles because she couldn't actually articulate her positions because her positions had already been articulated in 2019. If you wanted to find out who Kamala Harris was, go listen to what she said 5 years ago. She couldn't abandon that. She couldn't step away from that. Absolutely couldn't step away from that. So she just gave us the word salad responses. What the hell's that supposed to mean? Right? Because she could not repudiate it. It's all she could utter. My values haven't changed. Wink, wink, nod, nod. You're too stupid to remember what I said in 2019. You got to believe the campaign. This is another thing. Oh, this is rich. Whenever anybody mentions any of this stuff, the woke bullshit, right? Well, Kamala didn't run on any of that stuff. She never mentioned transgenderism, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. You really think people are stupid? You really think that the only thing that matters in this campaign is what a candidate says? Today, what they've said this week, this month, this year. You think that's all that matters? Like, people are just too stupid to remember what you said at one particular point in time. Now, if you come out and say, well, I've changed my position on this, and this is why, and this is why, and this is why, fine. People will let you change your mind. But to pretend none of this stuff ever happened, if she didn't say it this week, then it never happened. Oh, that's rich. That is rich. It's all over MSNBC. She didn't run on this. It doesn't matter. She said it. People understand where she was 5 years ago. And then she says, my values haven't changed. Okay, well, we got it. We understand what you're saying. Ay, ay, ay. People remember who she is. They didn't believe. Why would they? There's no reason to believe the centrist charade that she put on over the summer. Everybody knew she was trying to get elected. That's it. Okay, then. We know who you are. We don't want you. We liked it when you were baby in the corner for 3 years. Go back there. In the aftermath of this election, the mainstream media, oh boy. I wrote it down. I said that they're wounded. There's something beyond wounded. They are in crisis mode now. There's this new thing called the Rogan effect. People are calling this the podcast election. Cool. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance appeared on Joe Rogan. Had a huge benefit for the Trump campaign. Kamala dodging that was a huge, huge tactical error. She acted like she was doing Joe Rogan a favor by going on his show. And people in her campaign, the woke people in her campaign, didn't want her to go on there, presumably because they didn't want her to platform Joe Rogan. Here's the deal. Joe Rogan has, 100 million listeners? He was platforming her. And she refused. She refused to go. 100 million listeners, what is it, 60, 70% of them are men? A lot of young men. 60 to 70 million men, people you need, presumably, obviously needed, to win that election, and you just gave them the finger. That was dumb. Strategically, that was dumb with a normal candidate. I stick by what I said last week. It was probably smart that she didn't go on there because she probably would have gotten beat even worse because the woman cannot think on her feet. She has, again, going back to the word salad strategy, she can't pin herself down. And Rogan, she only wanted to go on for an hour and have it edited as well. A poison pill. She never wanted to go on there. So these are She only wanted to go on for an hour. He wasn't going to do that. So sitting down with him for 2 or 3 hours, eventually he's going to trip you up. You can't do that. Nobody can do that. Nobody can sit there and do the word salad dance for 3 hours without having an incredible trip up at some point. So yeah, she probably would have come out of a Joe Rogan interview, a real actual Joe Rogan interview, in worse shape than she went in. Whereas Donald Trump and J.D. Vance came out ahead. They were authentic. They were relaxed, articulate. They did fine. But between that and the View answer where Sonny, whatever the fuck her name is, asked her what she would do differently, I can't think of anything. Huh? Between that and my values have changed, yeah. She was sunk. The podcast election. Maybe putting the new media like this, really, more sharply into focus and showed the increasing irrelevance of heritage media, broadcast media, cable news, radio, all of it, especially CNN and MSNBC. There are reports coming out that MSNBC might go on the chopping block, looking to be sold. CNN reports that they're going to start downsizing, heavily downsizing, like getting rid of their higher-priced talent. People like Anderson Cooper, Caitlin Collins. Wolf Blitzer's been there since been there since the Stone Age, right? Dead-Eye Jake in the afternoon, he's got to be on the chopping block as well. Chris Wallace, the guy's 77 years old. He's at the end of his 3-year contract already. They wanted to renegotiate, give him a pay cut. He said, screw you. I'll go be a podcaster/streamer. 77 years old, and he's going to go where the action is, he said. Based on what he saw with Rogan and Tucker Carlson and other people for his election. In-depth conversations, real conversations, authentic conversations. That's what they gravitate toward that now. Authenticity is what they're calling it. Makes sense. Also, Twitter, X, showed its real value in this election as well. The outcome was very, very clear. Maybe not clear, but as I said earlier, it seemed likely based on what you would find on X. And it's not just because it's a conservative platform or primarily a Trump platform. It really isn't the case. I think there was a statistic I saw that there were still more liberals on the platform than there were conservatives. There were a lot. There were a ton. Chiming in here and there, you get the flame wars going, the good old-fashioned arguments, right? And you could go and you could see what conservatives were thinking, what liberals were thinking, and you could get kind of a sense. And that was the sense that I got. Now, maybe I didn't trust it completely, but I got the sense that, that was where this election probably is going. You didn't get that anywhere else. Nowhere else. Granted, I'm not on TikTok, and I don't ever see myself being on TikTok. And Facebook's gutted itself. I finally figured out what's going on with Facebook. Maybe you already knew this. I didn't. I should have. But they are suppressing political posts. They're suppressing political content, pushing it down the feed. The algorithm is de-emphasizing any political content over there. Has been for a while, I guess. Instagram's Instagram. So I'm sure there's something I don't understand about TikTok. Granted. And I probably should investigate it at some point. I haven't yet, and I really, at this point, I don't have it in me. But really, you could see the value of X, how people really appreciate being able to say what they think. I mean, you've really got to say something egregious to get your shit censored over on X. Really. Either way, conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. And back when he bought that platform, everybody wanted to say that Elon Musk was an idiot for buying Twitter and doing what he did with it. You know, he was mocked, blah, 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 blah. But it's not a coincidence. Musk derangement syndrome went into high gear when Elon bought that platform. They will never admit it. But tied into what we saw with the election this year, he cockblocked their plan to completely censor social media discourse. And then when he did that, when he got his hands on Twitter, got it out of their grubby little paws, the woke censoring grubby little paws, they set out to destroy the guy. That's when Musk derangement syndrome kicked into high gear. And it's ungodly. Even before he got involved with Trump, it was ungodly. And now that he's part of the DOGE, the Doge experiment, I guess, Department of Government Efficiency, the attacks they're going to continue, probably accelerate even worse. I always said that I would never, ever, ever pay for social media. I always said it, but I did subscribe to X. I've got my little blue check mark over there. I paid for it. Out of appreciation, just sheer appreciation for being able to go someplace and being able to say something without feeling like the hall monitor is going to come up and tap me on the shoulder or go tell on me or tattle on me or something. Being able to see people have actual conversations without somebody being banned. It's great. And I got a better sense of what's going on with this election there, better sense of it than I did anywhere else. Anywhere. It felt accurate with the results. The results themselves proved that. So I don't know how long that's going to go on. I don't know how long the subscription thing will last. I'm subscribed right now. And we'll see. But I personally, if you haven't gone over to X, if you haven't signed up, or if you've let maybe your account has gone into hibernation or whatever, go check it out. The discourse over there it's raw. It's real. And if you're a conservative, if you're right-leaning a little bit, they're all leaving. All like Joy Reid left, and who else? Jamie Lee Curtis pronounced her her exit from the platform as well. All of these liberals, because, oh my God, it's getting too toxic. We're off to Azure Sky, or whatever the fuck the name of that new one is. It's like Mastodon. Remember a few years, right when Elon bought the platform, they tried to start these Twitter alternatives, and they were all the rage for a couple of weeks, couple of months, or whatever. Then, do you remember Mastodon? Well, this one's the same. Threads. I've never even looked at Threads. Have you? Are any of you on Threads? Facebook's Twitter. What the fuck do I need a Twitter from Facebook for? If I want Twitter, I'll go to Twitter. I don't need your version of it, Marky Mark. I just don't. Anyway, so they're doing that. They're reprising their boycott role. They're going from McDonald's to Burger King again. We'll see how that goes. I have a sneaking suspicion, a very strong sneaking suspicion that most of them will be back, especially Joy Reid. That woman, somehow, had 1.9 million followers over there. Then she just deactivated. She didn't shut it down. She'll probably sneak back in there some night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I know that if you deactivate for 30 days, your account's gone. They scrub your account. Simple as that. I'll bet you about 28 days will go by. She'll be out, getting drunk, drinking a box of wine sometime in the middle of the night. Be pretty close to the first part of the year, right? Trump's inauguration will be kind of looming. And she'll log on 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning real quick. Reactivate it, deactivate it so the 30-day clock starts over. She ain't going to give that up. Nah, not Joy. Not Joy. Anyway, I said this was going to be a little quick. I'm going to shut it down here because I've got just the notes, like the cliff notes here. The bullet point notes, I've got 2, 4, 5 pages. Looking at me in the face. That was essentially a little over a page, 20%. And according to this, between 40 and 45 minutes. So, we're not going to do a 3-hour episode. I don't want to do that tonight. Anyway, it's a brave new world. I'm looking forward to next year. I'll get into this a little bit later, a little bit more, another episode, but de-wokifying the nation, it sounds like a wonderful experience, something I'm really looking forward to watching. Thanks for clicking in, Todzilla X-Pod. It's Escaping the Cave. You can get me over on YouTube, over at the Substack site, Todzilla X at both places. I always feel like I'm forgetting it's the website. I still have the Todzilla X website up there, the escapingthecave.com. I don't do anything with them, though. So you can go stalk it if you want. Come stalk me again next time. Till then, so long.